You didn't see people with dreads so much and so unapologetic about being Muslim. So he always had that strong sense that we didn't play around him at all. Malik used to be the one he had Ray-Bans and have a pink shirt and he'd have a fade, but he would still be trying to run around and doing all this stuff with the girls, but he was articulate and smart. But he was different because he was really smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all was smart in our own way, but he had that sort of like, creative energy. And the only reason why I was asleep while you was delivering papers is because I was 6 years old and you was 14 or whatever. That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? But when I could come outside, you couldn't stop me. You know? Right. But the thing about it is, a lot of us from that immediate place, the energy was contagious. We all ended up doing things at a professional level. So I came out of there, Malik, Cam used to be there. Like, a lot of us came out of 1199, and it's funny to see 20 years later, we on the panel, he talking about I used to love the kids when I was 16, he used to be beating us up. But that's all right. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. But that was how it went when you was like that. You know what I mean? It was like the youngest got beat up all the time. But, those are my memories in 1199 when I was... And also you had to learn how to be funny. Because when you were around a lot of people, boys, especially insecure ones, they tease you a lot. So the reason why I'm funny is because of these guys. And also I want to say they was in a rap group when I was younger, right? And they all had a rap group, and they wouldn't let me be in the picture. They wouldn't let me be in the rap picture. And I was so mad. They all had acid wash denim jeans, and they was downstairs on the second floor in the wood, and they wouldn't let me. And that was the day I was like, I'm going to get in the music business, and I'm going to show y'all how to do it. Remember that, Malik?
You showed us how to do it, Dang. You figured it out,
But
baby.
you remember y'all wouldn't let me be in the photo shoot?
That was my brother. Wasn't me.
But you remember that though, right? All right.
So when they signed their deal with Def Jam, I had my restaurant, Soul Cafe. Dave still owes me money for moving the furniture and drinking my champagne in the restaurant when they signed that deal with Rockefeller and Def Jam.
Your house is my house. I shouldn't have to pay for nothing.
What type of I don't know.
You know what it was. It was Cristal. You know what it was.
I'm gonna let you moderate, brother. Now we got a whole crew.
Yeah.
There's a couple of people up there I know. James, pay attention, brother. I'm gonna let you moderate.
All right, so why don't we introduce the rest of the panelists, starting with Shaka Zulu. You want to kind of get the audience
Shaka Zulu
on what you do and who you are.
What's up, Shaka? I know that was you. What's happening?
What's up, James? What's up, James?
We got stories too.
Yes, sir. What's up, Malik? So everybody that's listening, I'm just I'm the head intern on this panel. I'm just a servant, mostly new in entertainment. Pivoted, I'm an entrepreneur, honestly, by spirit. So I have restaurants, I have businesses, investments, things like that. Started a label after Dame. Learned a lot from him and people that came before me called Disturbing Peace with my partner, Ludacris. And we've built that into a number of different entities and businesses and branched off. And we just continue to build. I do management consulting. Recently just exited Spotify after 3 years. I can give you a whole list of things that I've done, but...
You was at Spotify?
Yes, sir, for the last 3 years.
Why you ain't call me? Wow. Oh, you was the Joe Budden's plug? That was you?
No, we'll talk. I took Troy.
Nobody want to pass me the plug, man. I don't understand that.
I missed it. Everybody, I noticed it. James knew.
Oh, come on, bro. I'm in outer space. I don't know about no... Damn. All right.
Okay.
My bad.
Appreciate that. So moving up to James, man. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit about yourself.
First, I don't even feel worthy with the people up here. Shaka, Dame, Malik, Nicole. So first of all, I want to really, I don't know Mr. Cole, but Shaka, Dame, Malik really inspire me. I always have. So I want to just say that first and give them the flowers while I can. But I'm currently coming from a production company, a lot of reality shows. Currently, general manager, head of programming for a new streaming network on Fox Soul. We are unapologetically black, consumable by all. We're trying to really just come into a space where we can speak our voice, our truth unapologetically, and have our culture, without judgment, be able to come and find a safe place that they can talk about things that we don't know to talk about in the privacy of our own homes. It's a place that we started this. We'll be 2 years out, our 2-year anniversary, January 13th of 2022. 17 different distribution platforms right now, averaging a little over 80 million viewers and so forth. So we've been blessed to grow. And then just myself, I'm just everything in life, everything that I've experienced and been through, ups, downs, good and bad, I feel like it's sort of placed me here and being able to watch a lot of the brothers that are actually on here that I know navigate their way through this entertainment business. So that's what I'm doing. Dame Dash has a 6-hour block on there on Saturdays, studios. Shaka has helped me tremendously along the way. Just been a real friend through the good and the bad. And Malik and I have been knowing acquaintance, if you will, from way back. And so I'm honored to be him and Mr. Ho. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm grateful to be on this panel.
What's up, James?
Thank you.
And also, James passes the plug, by the way. He's going to get paid, but he will pass the plug. I just want to say that. Not many people do.
That's important. So,
I think I'm bringing the voice of finance to the conversation.
Yes.
So, Nicole Pullen-Ross, I'm a partner at Goldman Sachs. I've been at the firm for 20 years, and a few years ago, decided to start a sports and entertainment focused business for Goldman, where we work with artists and entertainers on investing and philanthropy and anything they care about. So happy to be part of this conversation. I'm an alum from Hampton University. Malik, please tell Abdul I said hello and send my best. And good to be here. Everybody.
okay. Thank you, Nicole. That's a lovely fire in the background. I like it.
Well, I know she going to pass the plug. I'm good to meet you. Oh, snap.
So I guess the question I'll start off, and I'm going to keep it on Nicole. When you think about what we're trying to do here, so as a Legacy Classic event organizer, I'm Sean Singletary. And one of the big important parts of this is establishing legacy and how to set your mark on this world and things of that nature. So I'm curious, how have you thought about that in your career, and what are you doing to make sure you leave your mark and your legacy behind?
Sure. Thank you for the question. I do it in my career, and I try to do it in my personal lives as well. In my career, starting there, I happen to be the first and only Black partner in my division of 9,000 people at Goldman. So what that means to me is I'm responsible for creating a legacy to bring folks up behind me. This is a very competitive industry where there are not a lot of people who look like me. And I remember when I first was a summer associate at another bank while I was at Hampton, I remember being struck by how little diversity there was. And I also remember being struck by being in a room and hearing about this wealth creation that was coming up, that this conversation that was happening, and knowing that people like me were generally not in the room and part of the conversation. And so from there, it was really a mandate for me to change that. And so I feel really privileged to work with some of the most influential, smartest people in the world, entrepreneurs, business owners, etc. And we've changed what the table looks like. So when you're looking around the boardroom now, there are more people who look like us. There are more people who aspire to be in finance. I happen to be on the board of trustees at Hampton now. And part of what I want to do there is continue to connect the dots so that when people look at significant wealth creation, it's a little bit of like Waka said before, there's this level of financial literacy and ownership that you have to have, and it's more attainable for people who look like me than I think many are aware of. And so that's part of the legacy building that I want to do, change what the table looks like in places where they're really influential and important rooms.
Absolutely. So it's funny when I hear you guys talk about, your childhood memories, you talk about connections and sending the plug. And then you also, Nicole, what you just mentioned was, having other people look like you across the table. What is the importance of community? Like when you're talking about building your legacy, how does that fit in? Yeah, I'm going to go to you.
That's why we're here today, right? I think that when we are gathering with people that share our values, that share our cultural traditions, that share our aspirations, the more we can form community. You know, because a lot of times people have aspirations and dreams and intentions, but don't know where to go, right? So part of that is speaking it. A lot of times folks feel like, well, I'm not going to tell you what my dreams are because you're going to clown me, or you're going to tell me I can't do it, or what have you. Especially those of us that don't come from dreamers. You know, dreamers to the extent that that people that dream beyond the things that we see in front of us, right? A lot of times our parents will say, well, you know you say you want to do X, Y, Z, well, you know how hard that is. You can't really do it. You're black. You can't do it. You're female. You can't do it. You're gay. You can't, whatever it might be. There's limitations that other people will put on us. And so when we're able to find like-minded individuals, then iron sharpens iron, right? There's that saying, you're only as good as the 5 people that you spend your time around. And it's true. If you're around a bunch of broke folk, then you're going to talk about broke people problems. But as Nicole said, you sitting in a room, you talk about wealth management. If you've never even heard that phrase, then you're going to ask the question, well, what does that mean? And then you have an opportunity to learn. So I think community is really, really important. And I think when we talk about legacy, there's individual legacy that we're all going for, but what about the collective legacy? Because when you think about the legacy to this point, our legacy has been a lot of suffering, it's been alienation, it's been discrimination, it's been all those things that we collectively have experienced, and we feel that collective trauma. So now we have to start thinking, and that's why this happened today, right? What happens when we gather and intentionally create community? Amazing things can happen. Relationships get built. A gem is passed. That seed is planted. Something might grow a year from now, 2 years from now. I'm like, yo, I met you at that event. And you're now further along in your business. I'm further along. You know, James talked, we probably met 20 some years ago when he was doing reality TV when that first started. We had a meeting maybe 2 years ago now, looking at where we are now and how can we work together with his current platforms, with all the things that I have going on. So I think community is important. And specifically in my real estate life, right? I've been doing real estate development for the last 15 years. Started in Baltimore as a developer. Started buying properties in other cities, but ground up in a city like a Newark, right? West Baltimore hasn't been real new development in 50 years, right? The Urban Renewal Act was passed in that community 50 years ago. We acquired the property in 2004. We weren't able to put a shovel in the ground until 2017. But currently we have 2 buildings, 262 units, fully leased up. And when you talk about community, when I'm at the property and I'm speaking with residents, some were homeless not long ago. Dudes that used to hustle on the corner, you know, forming businesses with other residents in the building. So when you talk about community, that means a lot to me and what we can do collectively. And specific to real estate, yes, it's important. I can own a home, you can own a home, but what can we own together? And a lot of us don't think like that. This building we're in.
Real quick. I
just want to finish this point real quick, Dame. Guaranteed, and Dame, you know, he can speak to this. Guaranteed it wasn't just one source that built this building. A collective came together, individuals, banks, private equity, whoever it was, to put their money. Prudential most likely put the most money, which is why their name is on this building, but it was a collective. And so moving forward with Yoba Development, that's one of the things that we're really intentional about, is making sure that we shift the mindset from individual to what we can do collectively. And that means investing collectively for the purpose of collective legacy.
Real quick, I'll keep it short. Some things don't change. We still like to talk. I love that. What I'm saying, as far as community, the issue with us economically as black people is we don't keep our dollar in the community, and it's impossible for us to get loans. So my question for anybody on the panel is, especially with Goldman Sachs, as a black man, first generation, that doesn't have anyone to help me co-sign or anything, the hardest thing for me as an entrepreneur is to get a legit loan, to get a fund to invest. They want you to get naked, and then they don't do anything. It's such a process that a person that doesn't have the tolerance for that process, or who isn't taught that process, doesn't even get the chance to be a part of that. And as black people, they don't teach us everything they teach them as it relates to that kind of thing. And the community that needs to be built would be a bunch of black entrepreneurs that always support black businesses and keep that money in the community. So again, my question is for anybody is, why is it so hard for a black man to get along?
I'm happy to take that, Dane, because you're absolutely right. And it's not just black men, it's black women, it's people of color. We look at the numbers. One of the things that Goldman did 2 years ago was say, how can we make a difference in addressing that issue? Because all of the numbers say, if you look at, for example, venture capital investing or black and brown business owners, a business investing in smaller companies, black-owned businesses, they'll be able to raise 1 or 2% of all venture capital funding. And so if you are a diverse fund manager or a diverse business owner, the odds are stacked against you and your ability to get enough capital to execute whatever your business objective is. So we've done a couple things. One, we started an initiative called 1 Million Black Women, and we committed $10 billion to invest in black women over a period of 2 years. And that's doing exactly what you said, finding businesses who need capital to grow. That's one thing that we've done. The reception has been extraordinary, and we're putting money to work. The second thing is we said, let us not only find black businesses, but let us help them become bigger business owners or more productive business owners. And we did that through something called Launch.
What's the criteria to get the loan?
That's what you do. I'm telling you the paths. You got to do the work. There are paths there.
My thing was, after a while, I said forget all of that because it takes too long and there's too many moving parts. That's why I just started to flip.
It takes a long time for everybody, Dame.
In this system where they control us, they make it take long so we don't do it. And that's the reason why black people can't have nothing. We don't have the lineage to have no one give us no help. Every time we go into a bank, they want a cosigner. Or you have to already have had credit to get credit. It's no way first generation for a black man to get out that cycle. And if you're not educated to know how to do these things, which conveniently they don't teach you that in high school, they barely teach you that in college. Because I'm putting my daughter through college and they didn't teach her that. So I'm like, how do people that don't get taught to do these certain things, how could they ever know how? And I think it's a program to keep us in a pattern where we're stuck. So I just think it has to be different. Black banks have to give loans to black people, but they shouldn't have to have that same high standard because it's a first generation thing. That's just my thing. That's just what I'm saying. Because I've never been able to raise $1. I've never been able to raise $1 unless I have collateral. Ever.
Yeah.
I want to add to that real quick, just in my perspective, when you spoke about legacy and community. To me, that is circled for the students that are listening, whatever. Like legacy, first of all, is never a one-man show. Greatness is never a one-man show. You need a community, you need a group. But the most important part, and coming from personal experience, is legacy is when you fall, right? It's not when you consistently are successful, because that doesn't happen for anybody. But the community and the circle, and I take people like Shaka, for example, personally, like when you're down, either your circle going to walk out on you, or they're going to stay with you and tell you the truth about the mistakes you made and help you build back up. And once you start to build back up the right way after you fall and learn, to me, that's when the legacy starts to take hold. And I just, for any student that's they're going to have success the whole time of their life, they're not going to make big steps, they're not going to have mistakes. The key is your circle / community that will stay with you even through your mistakes and come back and help you get to where you need to be. And quite honestly, that's why I sit in the seat I sit in now, based on facts that people didn't give up on me through my own mistakes, and that is helping me build a legacy today. I think that's very important for people to understand.
Absolutely. So look, I think we're at time right now for this panel. I want to thank everybody for coming down.
We guys, come on, give us some.
Malik took up all the time talking about his real estate. That's what happened. I told you Malik took up all the time. He used to do that in $11.99.
We're going to get you along, Dave.
I got my own television network.
Dave, I can get you in there. I got you.
Nigga sat down and talked about his real estate business for 10
I'm
minutes.
not sure who the idea was to have only a half hour, but you know, time well spent.
I'm just there, okay, so I don't get fined. No, don't you
There's
dare.
some folks out here who have.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Chaka.
Is there a question?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Tania Squires. I am a junior from Central State University.
Hi, Tania.
Hi. I'm
Community,
actually,
right? Hi, Tania.
Yo, let it talk, Malik. Let it talk. We ain't got that much time.
I'm actually an entrepreneurship major at Central State. But my question is, what would be some advice you would give to college students? Like, since I'm a junior, what would be some advice for either me being an entrepreneurship major? Some advice like, what would be my next steps? Because I don't know my next steps. So what would be some advice you would give to college students that don't know where they want to go with their life?
I would say, as an entrepreneur, the most important thing is the idea. You know, you got to be a visionary. You got to have a vision to see something. Most times, that other people don't see, like Dana said before, and other people have said before. And then from there, it's going to be about the steps. The process is where you make your mistakes, unless you have somebody to guide you through, unless you have a mentor or a mentee situation where you get guided through. It's not necessarily a fearful thing. I believe making mistakes is where you learn everything. You obviously don't want to make costly mistakes. There's valuable mistakes and then there's lessons. So in that space of being an entrepreneur and in community, right, you got to put your community together. Nobody on this panel has moved where they've gotten to without team or community. And to Malik's position, I was indoctrinated that the community is more important than the individual. So what I tend to do is I try to get out of the way of myself. Even though I have my own aspirations and goals, I try to get out of the way of myself and support others and push them, even if they make more money than me or do other things or greater things than me. What's for me is for me, and I will learn and I will understand how to achieve my goals in that space. With Nicole being the only woman on this panel, for the last 5 to 7 years, I've been focused on investing in Black women because I believe that Black women were going to be leading us in our new financial space. Doesn't prevent me from doing the things that I want to do personally, but I just know that that's a space. And now with this global blackness, and we got corporate guilt and white guilt, Black women are in the forefront. I manage and I invested in Slutty Vegan, a Black woman from Baltimore, went to CAU, had 4 different businesses, and her 4th one was the most successful. Now it's the fastest growing restaurant brand in the country.
I love her.
I invested in Honey Pot. I invested in Honey Pot, which is it's organic feminine products. I'm investing in the things, and entrepreneurs need to be looking at the things that make answers for our community. We got to create new monuments that we don't always sell. We have to create new monuments that are able to stand for a good amount of time. That people are able to be inspired or come through the process of that monument, and that will help build legacy.
Can I just tell you what you should do? You got to dream, right? You have to dream, and whatever you would do for free, whatever you do for free, you love it so much you do for free, make that what you do as a professional. And do it so well that you do it better than anybody. But you have to be able to visualize it. You have to be able to architect what you want your life to look like in 5 years. So what I would suggest you do is get a vision board. First, put the stuff you want to buy. Don't dream small because it doesn't cost no money at all. Dream about the houses and the cars. Then you think about what you're going to do to actually make the money to do it. So you think about what you enjoy. What do you enjoy? If it's video games, then be a gamer. If it's fashion and you like fashion, then do that. But you have to do it better and harder than anyone else. You're going to end up with somewhat of a job and you have to pay off this loan. So you have to start now. Anything that you start now, it will not crack for at least 5 years. And you have to be patient with it. So if you're 18 now and you start, you'll be like 24, 23. That's not such a long time. Or, so on and so forth. But make sure you dream. Make sure your dream scares somebody. Make sure it's something no one ever did. Because if it's not a dream that's scary, it's not a dream. It's been done before. But dream big. Sky's the limit. Don't let nobody tell you how to live. Don't let nobody tell you what job to have because you might not want one. You might want to understand what it is to be a boss. Ask your teacher, did he teach you how to be a boss? And if he didn't, tell him to. But how can he if he has a boss? So it's kind of hard. But you got to figure that part out. You want to be the architect of your future. But you got to write the script. And there's no format for dreaming.
Yeah, that's real.
I'll add to that. Entrepreneur is really emotionalpreneur. It's the emotions that are going to drive everything. Everything they said plus that. Because dream and it's easy to think about it, it's much harder to execute. And even when you reach the thing that you said you want to do, what about the sustainability of that? Right? It's easy to get there, but to stay there and to rise and continue to level up. So the emotional thing and serve something bigger than yourself. It can't just be about you. No more questions? You can ask us on the low. We'll step down and answer your questions.
Yeah, we'll do that. Anybody who has questions, we'll take a little quick session over there, if you would like.
Good to see y'all.
Pleasure to see everybody.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate y'all. Nice to meet everybody.
Fox Soul, Dame Dash Studios on Saturdays. Thanks for the plug, James. Love you. Yo, hey Shaka, I need some of your plugs. Nicole, I need your numbers. We're gonna always earn every time we learn. Let's keep the community together. Keep the community together. Let's get some money together.
All right, thank you all.
Get all your numbers, please. I got you.
Hi everybody.
The Legacy Classic Career Summit.
To him at the. Let me just show you guys what it is. Hi. So this is the Legacy Classic Career Summit. He's backstage now. This is how it works. This is a platform where they are able to host summits and panels and stuff like that, and like comment, like you can see who's leaving and stuff like that. It's very interactive. So let's see what else. You're live.
We're still live?
Yeah.
No, it's popping. Yeah, I was just talking to HMU colleges. It's hard because I agree with colleges as far as discipline, but I don't sometimes like the things that they prepare you for. I think they should prepare you for things that make you a boss, not a worker. So sometimes I get a little disruptive. And the banks that do not cut no checks, but you know, it's hard first generation. So I always, as a person that's an independent businessman that actually went that route and was like, F this route. I'll go flip before I go get naked and not get nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my thing is, how do you do it on your own? You know, when you don't let anybody control your destiny. You know, that's been my thing, because it feels freer. You know, freedom is really priceless. That's the wealth. It's doing whatever you want, when you want, how you want, with who you want. You know what I mean? Getting up when you want, playing with the people, your kids and everything, and just all that. That's a world, a bubble that you can insulate yourself, and you don't have to worry about the rest of everybody else's problems. But because you love people, you make sure you come out your bubble to help, and then you go back in your bubble. You got to protect your energy at all times. You know? That's how I'm looking at things. So yeah, we're gonna be back later. You know, we're gonna take over Fox Soul on Nate Live, and I'll have us plugged in and we'll kick it. A lot of interesting things that happen. Dame Dash Studios is clicking. You know what I mean? I'm getting more filmmakers, and more filmmakers means more bosses, more independent, more like-minded people. We starting to click up. We getting money, and it's going down. You know what I mean? So it is independence. If you have to, you know, it's a fight for freedom. It's a fight. It's a war for anything that you love, really. You know, and that's the test on this vibration. Is when you fight for what you believe in, and when you be scared. What you gonna be scared of what you love? You can't be scared to fight for what you love. You have to be fearless for what you love. And I love my freedom, and I love my family, and I love my life. So, you know, people be like, yo, this nigga be looking angry all the time. I laugh all the time, except when I'm in the battleground. When I'm in the battleground, it ain't no jokes, you know, period, because I'm fighting for the laughter. So when you fight for the laughter, and you fight for the love, you know, the smile turns upside down, period. But when I'm back with the love and the loved ones, it goes another way. I'm smiling, period. No one has to feel the fight. The people I love don't have to feel the fight. You know, I took care of the rough stuff, and I let them actually breathe easy. And that's what a real man, a real boss, that's what you do. If you're the captain, you don't want the stewardess, and you do not want the passengers to think we're gonna crash. If there's a problem that can be fixed, you just gotta be cool, so everybody else is cool, period. So I'm leaving on that note. Holla back. Oh, BBS Boys TV show coming soon. Fox Soul Takeover at 4. You can tell the cast, tell them.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.